What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. So in this video, we're going to be talking about this article that I came across where the Trump admin supposedly moving quietly to drop charges against MS-13 leaders that are connected to Bukele and citing other national security priorities. So that's interesting. And the reason why I think it's interesting is I'm curious. And trying to keep a watch on this as to how this might actually affect the Abrigo Garcia case, because this is interesting. So, swap over here. We have this is from the Latin Times. Trump admin moves, like I said, moves quickly to drop charges against MS-13 leaders. So what are we talking about here? The President Donald Trump made of law and order a key pillar of his campaign and administration, promising to persecute and deport undocumented immigrants, many of whom were believed to be violent gang members. However, as he strengthens his relationship with El Salvador's Bukele, Trump is reportedly willing to drop charges to leaders of one of the most prominent international gangs that hails from the Central American country and has been linked to Bukele. According to new reports from El Faro, an outlet extremely critical of Bukele, the president has seemingly convinced Trump to drop charges against leaders of the MS-13 gang who have been accused of terrorism in order to be prosecuted during the first Trump term. If the charges are dropped, the Republican president, sorry about that, would also be tossing the work of Vulcan, a joint task force with great fanfare announced in 2019 as a unit specially designed to combat MS-13, bringing together Department of Homeland Security, several federal agencies, and 10 prosecutors' offices, which had operated in 5 countries. Notably, the joint task force's work led to the capture of 9 leaders of MS-13, all Salvadorians accused of narco-terrorism, human trafficking, murders committed in the U.S., planning the assassination of an FBI agent, and more, El Faro reports. Though the administration has reportedly operated quietly to drop the charges against the leaders, some moves have already been seen. Most recently, interim U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, John Durham, asked the Eastern District Court in New York to drop the charge against 2 of the 9 leaders, Antonio Lopez Larios, alias is Grinos, whatever, and Vladimir Antonio Arevalo, maybe Chavez, known as Vampiro. I'm probably butchering names, but let's go on. In both cases, Durham argued before the court that there were more important geopolitical and national security considerations than holding these gang members accountable for the crimes in which they were accused, according to the LA press. New York prosecutors did not explain to the court what considerations had prevailed in the decision, nor how relations with El Salvador would be harmed if Vampiro's deportation were made public. It also remains unclear what national security motives the Trump administration had to drop the charges against their leaders. However, some experts in El Salvador assess that the deals are part of a quid pro quo between Bukele and Trump's government to avoid forcing their leaders to testify about his power-sharing deals with organized criminal gangs, the LA press reports. Bukele's close relationship with Salvadoran criminals and gang members is an open international secret. Last month, Carlos Lopez, one of the most recognized gang leaders in El Salvador, whose charges were recently dropped in his home country, gave a 41-minute interview to El Faro where he detailed how his gang, as well as other criminal organizations, allegedly helped the president rise to power. Oscar Martinez, editor-in-chief of El Faro and co-author of the article, told El País that this interview, I'm not sure what that is, that this interview describes how gangs turned Bukele into a relevant politician. It allows us to reach the stark conclusion that it is impossible to understand Bukele's rise to total power without his association with gangs. And this is something we've talked about previously, that there was a lot of reporting go along that Bukele was connected with the gangs a lot. He was, protecting a lot of the gangs. That was a lot of the argument that the U.S. was making against Bukele for a while, and that he was too close to them, and that was allowing for the gangs to stay, relevant in the country and still, and they were controlling Bukele. And now granted, this El Faro is completely against Bukele, and so they have a bias. They have, a narrative. They have somebody who is an, major gang member or leader having an interview with them. He would clearly also want to make Bukele look bad. I give you that, grant you that. But even our own assessment early on, years ago, when shortly after Bukele took office, was that he was helping and assisting with the gangs, and that he was making deals and stuff with them to try to pull down their activity, but not really prosecute them or anything, just trying to control the activity, which to some degree was working. But there were, little backlashes and stuff here and there. But our push was that Bukele needed to get harsher on it. And so that's the reason why he started taking this, billing the new CCOT and then putting all these, people behind in that pretty much a death camp. But this shows that we are willing to, in order to protect him, though, now the Trump administration is dropping charges against leaders to try to help him out and to, it's just interesting to me that we've made such an argument here behind immigration, behind the whole thing around Garcia, that he was an MS-13 gang member, and that's the reason why we had to get rid of him and we had to send him away, and and that we're not going to tolerate gang members being within the United States, that with these people have done criminal acts here, so they're going to be sent to this facility or whatever the case, so that they can be prosecuted, or or without even any kind of due process or anything. They're just there, and they're going to die there, or whatever. They're going to live the rest of their life there. But yet we have deals being made between the administration now and Bukele to drop charges against certain leaders to save face and protect Bukele from his terrorist connections with the said gang members. And they're all doing this secretly, or at least that's what appears. So how important is it really? How important is it really? And I'm interested to when it comes to the Garcia case, how much this is going to affect? Which, they already have kind of started pulling back from the whole MS-13 affiliation to begin with, because there's clearly no evidence of that. Now it seems like they're really pushing more for the supposed human trafficking, the alleged human trafficking stuff. But this for me seems to there's I don't know. I'm interested to see if this comes up in the case whenever they start going through trial stuff for him. How much is this going to, if this is even going to come up, and what effect it will have on the trial, and ultimately what it speaks for in the immigration process altogether, really. Just how, it doesn't seem that bringing these people to justice or, whatever, is really that important to the U.S. It's more about power and the control that we wield, or that our connection with Bukele and stuff like that, and the power, trying to keep him in power and protected as well. Like, it seems it's all a protection thing. I don't know. It's just interesting. I thought it was interesting. Let me know what you think, and or if you see different things, if you see it a different way, if you've come across information that's counter to what I'm thinking, or whatever the case, let me know. It's just start a discussion. This is the kind of thing I want to just have a discussion about, because I think it's interesting. So let's talk about it. Thank you very much, and peace. ClearTalk, I'm out.